The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Whenever we talk about soccer, it's interesting how the whole world is like big soccer fans. And in America, it doesn't seem as big for some reason. And the whole world calls it football.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting divide between what we call soccer and what we call football. And as far as fans go, and what the rest of the world calls football, and American football is what we call football, right? I think that's kind of how it goes. That's about all I know. And Mark Geiger knows a whole lot more. It's got a really great book. If you have a soccer fan in your family, or if you are one, you're going to love this one. It's called Absolute Expert Soccer: All the Latest Facts from the Field. Mark is a Major League Soccer referee, and it's an honor to have him on our show. He refereed the 2012 Olympics, the 2014 FIFA World Cup, and other major soccer events. And he writes about what he loves in this one, Absolute Expert Soccer. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New Jersey.
New Jersey. And it sounds like you probably grew up there, right?
I did. Born and raised.
So how is it that Americans haven't embraced soccer as much as the rest of the world? And is that changing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's changing. You know, soccer is a relatively new sport here in the U.S. It was reintroduced in 1996 with the creation of Major League Soccer. We used to have the North American Soccer League in the 70s and 80s, but it's a new sport compared to American football, as you had already mentioned, and baseball and some of the other professional sports, where if you look at soccer around the world, in England and Germany, Spain, in South and Central America, it's been around for a century. So we are certainly growing, and if you just look at Major League Soccer, the number of teams and the number of spectators we're getting, it's a lot more energy and a lot more bigger fan base.
And I think I read somewhere that the FIFA World Cup draws a more viewership, I guess, than the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, this is the world's game, you know. So you're getting billions of people watching the World Cup final.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. The book is really well done, and it's very colorful. Tell me what your goal was in writing this. And this is, by the way, for the listeners, this is published by National Geographic. So just to give you an idea of how the quality of this beautiful book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so National Geographic Kids has put together the Absolute Expert series. So soccer is just the first of the series. There's two people involved in writing the book. Eric Zweig was actually the author, and then each book has an expert to help write the book. So my job was to write the intro to each chapter and to write little snippets based on my experiences and expertise. The idea is it's a grade 3 to 7 book, and we're trying to just give some topics and give some reading to kids about topics that they would be interested in.
I wonder if this will kickstart the interest in soccer among younger readers, who then will translate that into actually on the field activities.
Yeah, I think it will, and soccer actually with the youth is one of the most participated sport in the U.S. So it is very popular with the kids. They just have so many options down the road with football, baseball, hockey, and basketball. So I think that's where we may lose some of the kids, but it's certainly a great book with a lot of information that I didn't even know about, you know, when we were putting the book together. So it's you can really look at it as a book for all ages.
My daughter and son are now 39 and 41 respectively, and they were both the goalies for their high school soccer team, Shannon for the girls and TJ for the boys team. And they really, you know, gave it their all, and it was really incredible and exciting watching their games.
You know, it's an awesome sport, as you really can play it at all ages. You know, you do have adult leagues, you have the youth leagues, and what's really interesting is you don't need space. All you need is a ball and a little area, and you can play soccer.
And it looks like you don't need a whole lot of protective gear. I just think that might be a concern for parents.
Shin guards.
Say it again.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper for the parents than football.
Well, and when you hear all these stories about the concussions in football, and I know everybody's cringing right now because you love football and you hate that topic, but I mean, from a parent's perspective, I bet you this is a better alternative, at least a safer one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and U.S. soccer's taken a lot of steps to ensure that soccer doesn't have the number of concussions that maybe football might have.
And you were a high school math teacher, and then you went into being a full-time referee. What made you go over to that section to be a referee?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been, I was in a referee since I was 13 years old. Like many kids, you need a job as a teenager, and there was no better way to make a few bucks than to work on the weekends refereeing games. I started in Major League Soccer in 2004, and at the same time, I was teaching math at Lacey Township High School. So for 10 years that while I was in Major League Soccer, I was teaching at the same time. Back in 2013, the professional referee organization was formed, and they've really professionalized refereeing in North America for Major League Soccer. So we have camps every 2 weeks, Wednesday to Friday. So I wasn't able to balance the two jobs anymore. So that's when I decided to leave teaching and focus for the time being on just refereeing.
Robin says that you have some little-known regulations that you could share with us, some weird facts. And I was just curious if our regulations in America are different than those elsewhere in the world.
No, we use the same laws of the game. I mean, there's no difference. All 200-plus nations in their leagues back home all play with the same rules. It may look a little different because each culture has their own style of play, but it's the same rules. The thing that I found really fascinating in this book is how much the rules have changed over the years. There were the offside rule has changed to the point where a number of years ago, it doesn't look anything like the offside rule that we have today. Goalkeepers 30 years ago, when they got the ball in their hands, were only allowed to take 4 steps with the ball in their hands before they had to get rid of it. Now it's a 6-second rule. So the rules every single year are evolving and changing to make the game more attractive, faster, and better.
I had watched that movie about Pele, and I thought it was fascinating that some of the coaches tried to take the natural soccer ability away from the players to try to conform it to what they thought should have been that ability.
Oh, sure. And every team is going to have their own identity. And when you talk about the professional game, they try to bring in players that fit the identity of the team. And while you may have a superstar that you're looking at and possibly bringing onto your team, if they don't fit into your system, then that's not going to be somebody that you're going to want to have, even though they may be one of the world's best players.
How different or how scary was it for you to be refereeing in Russia?
It's certainly not scary. It was an absolute honor because when referees are chosen, just like players are chosen for their national team, you're representing your country, you're representing your region. So it was an absolute honor to be chosen for both Brazil and Russia to represent the U.S. In that tournament. With the World Cup, there's a lot more pressure and a lot more riding on every single game than the normal game you're used to refereeing. So for me, before walking out onto the field with the teams, there's a little bit more anxiety. The butterflies are going a little bit more. You know that every single decision is magnified in this type of an environment.
The Robin mentioned Pele. Is that how you say his name? Pele. Does the presence of superstars in this sport translate to the American public? Are we getting that part of this sport yet?
Oh, I think we are. I mean, you go to any soccer match, even in Major League Soccer, you're still going to see some Messi jerseys. You're going to see some Ronaldo jerseys on the backs of the spectators. Everyone knows who the big superstars are. We've been very fortunate in Major League Soccer, starting with David Beckham, getting some of these world-class players coming in and playing. I mean, we have Ibrahimovic now and a few awesome players from South America and other stars coming over from Europe. Wayne Rooney's another recent addition to the league. So we are able to attract these world-class players. And we're developing some of the world-class players ourselves, and people like Landon Donovan, who has recently retired, and Michael Bradley. These are world-class players in their own right. And we've been fortunate enough to have them playing here in the U.S.
Larry had a news item last week about how humidity and elevation affects the balls in baseball. Does that affect the soccer balls as well?
Oh, absolutely. We check the balls before the game, and then we actually bring them outside and recheck them because the air will expand, based on heat or cold and humidity. So we're making sure that the balls are conform to what the laws of the game say.
Tell me what other absolute expert books are in the series.
There are several that are in the works. Soccer's the first one. I'm not entirely sure which ones have been released yet, but I do know that there's one on dolphins and there's one on volcanoes. So you're going to be able to look for those books. If they're not out now, very shortly they'll be released as well.
All right.
While my daughter was the goalie at the soccer games in high school, she got red carded twice. Can you? Yeah, she was kind of, she was aggressive. Can you tell me the difference between the yellow and the red cards?
Yeah, so our yellow and red cards are the formal display of a warning and an ejection. So if you get a yellow card, it's a formal warning in that match. And if you get a second yellow card, then you're going to be ejected from the game. Whereas a red card is a straight ejection. So depending on the behavior of the player, I know, right?
Yeah.
Depending on what you do, it could earn you a yellow card or a red card. But referees have other methods to try to modify behavior as well, and just talking to players and using some man management or player management techniques.
Really? Does the behavior on the field play a role in that? Like in football, you have so many rules. You can't be dancing in the end zone, and
yeah, right.
I mean, does that kind of stuff happen in soccer?
Yeah, we have some rules that will automatically give you a yellow card. For instance, if you score a goal and take off your jersey, so very similar to the one that you just talked about in football.
Right.
If you take off your jersey to celebrate, it's going to be a yellow card. But we have 17 laws in soccer, and if you break them, then certainly you could earn that yellow card.
Oh my gosh! So it makes it kind of fascinating, doesn't it? And it makes it better as spectators, which most people are spectators. Mm-hmm. I would imagine, and most people are spectators, but every spectator is an expert. You know that, right?
Of course they are.
Especially the parents. How can you encourage the parents to try not to be so vicious at their local high school games because sometimes some of the parents are very, very vicious.
Is that part of what you have to do?
And I think it is absolutely something we have to deal with. I mean, all spectators get, you buy a ticket to a game, they think it entitles them to yell at players and yell at referees, and in high school and even younger age groups, like you go down to the 5 to 10-year-olds, the parents can be very boisterous out there. And they need to remember that those are kids out on the field. The kids are going to make mistakes. And they're there to learn and enjoy the sport, and really their job really should be to sit back and cheer on their own team and enjoy the experience of the game.
We were told that you're the first American to referee a knockout stage match at a men's FIFA World Cup. What is that?
All right, so there are two stages of the World Cup. So the first stage is the group stage. So there are 8 groups of 4 teams, and they play a round robin format. So each team plays each other. And then at the end of that round, the top 2 teams in each group advances to the knockout stage. So in that beginning stage, if you lose a game, it's okay. You can still gain enough points in order to advance. Once you get to the knockout stage, and it's like any state cup competition or state championships, whereas if you lose the game, you're out of the tournament. So I was the first American in a men's competition to referee one of those games where if the team loses, they're going home. If the team wins, they advance to the next round.
As a referee, are you drafted in the same way that the players are drafted? And in fact, while I'm on that topic, how are the players drafted in soccer?
Yeah, it's a similar process. So with the players, they have a national team pool. So there may be 50 or 60 players that they're watching over the year before the World Cup just to see who's playing the best and who can fit into the system that the coach wants to use. And so they'll make a final selection 1 to 2 months before the tournament. The referees go through a similar process in that there are about 50 or 60 referees from around the world that are selected to be part of the World Cup project. There were 2 Americans that were chosen for the World Cup in Russia, and we go to seminars and they watch our qualification games, and they put us through a bunch of tests, whether it's on the field practicing or it's video tests with knowing the laws of the game, English tests. And from that list of 50 or 60, they chose 36 referees to participate in this last World Cup.
Wow. Go ahead.
How do you feel about the politics? Because I know there were a few stories that Larry had over the past year about the organization itself. Yeah. About
you know what? That stuff was an unfortunate black mark in FIFA. Their politics come and creep into every single thing that we take part in, unfortunately, and FIFA has done a lot to improve their image and to make sure that the sport is about the sport, you know, and developing the sport in the countries where it may not be so prevalent or where there's not a lot of money. They give a lot of money to those areas to create fields and make the game accessible to the youth at the grassroots level. But they clean things up, fortunately, and we have a bright future ahead of us, both in U.S. soccer and in FIFA.
Are the professional soccer players paid well, like compared to like a professional football player?
I don't think as a whole, they're not making as much as NFL. I believe that the base salary or the starting salary for a Major League Soccer player is just under $100,000. But we are getting players in Major League Soccer that are making $5 million a year. You know, so it can be very lucrative here in the U.S., you know, but that's going to a very small number of players. But it has gotten a lot better over the years. And back in the very beginning of the league in 1996, this was unheard of to have a player making over $1 million. So
wow.
It's gotten a lot better.
Okay, please don't cringe. I don't know this, but if I feel like I'm asking a question that I should know, and everybody's going to cringe if I should. Do we have any soccer stadiums dedicated to soccer in America?
Yeah. And the first one was in 1999 in Columbus. And now there's only a handful of teams that don't have a soccer-specific stadium. And when teams come into the league at this point, the new teams are coming in, they have to have a plan for a soccer-specific stadium. So it's been really awesome. And you guys are in Orlando, and you have your Orlando City team has their own new soccer-specific stadium, which is an awesome atmosphere with a great crowd. So it's exciting at this time of soccer's history in North America and the U.S.
Do you get to know the coaches for all the individual soccer teams when you're refereeing?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a big league with 23 teams, but in the same sense, it's a small league because we do get to see the same teams over and over again. So you develop relationships, not just with the coaches, but with the players. So when they do something that's out of character, they do something that's against the rules, you don't necessarily have to come out with that yellow card right away. You can try to work with the player and talk to him and modify the behavior. So you develop relationships with the people on the team, whether it's the coaches or the players.
But you can also keep your objectivity, though.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, because you know the players on the other team as well. So it's very important that we are as objective as possible.
By the way, if you want to go to the Orlando City Stadium, tickets are only $24 a piece. That's pretty good. So even I love that as spectators, it's actually affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, for that reason alone, we should be supporting the sport. Well, this is I'm so glad you're doing this. The book is called Absolute Expert Soccer: And I guess I misspoke. It's actually written by Eric Zweig, and Mark Geiger on the phone is the professional expert who gave, I guess, a lot of information for Eric to work with. Does that seem like the fair way to describe the relationship?
Yeah, that's a fair comment. Sure.
What is the life expectancy of a referee for soccer?
We actually have an assistant. We actually have an assistant referee in the top division in MLS that's 57 years old. You know, and it's certainly a rarity. I think the referees will go anywhere from 45 to 50 years old, but it's a good career, and you can certainly get into it for a number of years.
Oh wow! Well, very exciting. Let's see. We can get the book on the website, right? kids.nationalgeographic.com. And is it in bookstores as well, Mark?
Yes, it is. And Amazon carries it as well.
Oh, Amazon has it. Okay.
And do you have any kind of exciting or a moment that is really forefront in your memory for your time over the years?
You know, the biggest memory that I have is walking out of the tunnel, walking the teams onto the field at my first World Cup and the first match. You know, it was a brand new experience for me, and it was my goal of my life was to make it to a World Cup. So it was the time that I actually realized my goals, and it's something that I'll always remember.
That's pretty exciting, I think, because you're really in a nice position there. I mean, gosh, you've got the whole world watching, and you have to make sure that you do everything right, because you could even be booed for your calls.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Oh my gosh, is it an all-male sport?
No. Actually, the U.S. women's national team is ranked number 1 in the world. So. The women's sport has taken off, and we're extremely, extremely successful here in the United States with women's soccer.
So was there any repercussions when Brandi Chastain took off her jersey after the women won all those few years ago? I mean, she had a sports bra.
No repercussions for her. The game is over, so no yellow card for her. But certainly to win in that fashion, you know, is quite exciting and emotional for the players. So you don't blame her for doing what she did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope you realize this. If not, I'm going to share this with you. You have an excitement about you, Mark, and it's made this broadcast so much more enjoyable. I love this conversation. I love something up and positive, and this is definitely one of those things. And you've teamed up with a great company. National Geographic always does some wonderful work. The book, again, is called Absolute Expert Soccer, and you can get it everywhere books are sold, and it's published by National Geographic. Mark, thank you for doing this. This was fun, and good luck. If you're ever in the Orlando arena, I guess drop us a line. We'll come by. We might come by anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
I think you got
Thank
us.
you very much.
I think you got us. You got us excited about soccer. Yeah, and you're welcome. Thank you. All right, we'll be right back.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
On this Wednesday, sunshine and some clouds. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm. The high in the upper 80s along the coast, 92, 93 inland. Partly cloudy winds tonight, low 70s inland, mid 70s along the coast. For Thursday, a mix of sun and clouds with a thunderstorm around, mainly during the afternoon hours along the coast. The high 89 at the beaches, 93 inland. For Friday, sun and clouds, good chance for a shower or thunderstorm, high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hey, baby, it's rodeo time in Ocala. August 31st, September the 1st, 7:30 nightly. The superstars of professional rodeo return to the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. The 36th annual Ocala Shrine Pro Rodeo brings you the best of man, muscle, and a stampede of horsepower. For tickets and information, call 352-402-8808 or check us out at OcalaShrineRodeo.com.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. Dow futures in the red the day after two former Trump advisors get slapped with criminal convictions. Former personal attorney